All right, we're live. What's going on, guys? Happy Tuesday. Wait for the chats to pop up here on the screen. Hope I don't have to use my phone like I always do. But hopefully not. Hopefully everybody's having a good week. Hopefully everybody's enjoying me on Right Side Broadcasting. I'm having a blast. It's fun. I'm back on the road again tomorrow. People have been reaching out like, "Where have you been? I didn't see you at the Nevada event." It's like I gotta take a breather every now and then. But I'm gonna be back on the road and probably going back to back again. So now that I've got my feet under me and I understand what's going on with all these events, that I need to pack clothes for like probably 2 weeks because you just never know. I only packed for the 2 events they scheduled me for, but now I know to pack for like a week to 2 weeks ahead of time. So I could be just good to go. Who do we have in here? We've got some people watching already. Nice little crowd already. That's quick. I've noticed that whenever I release a video now it gets the views right away that it should. I mean, YouTube still slams on the brakes, but at least in the first like hour or so, I get the views that I should get for the algorithms catch up. Anyway, let's see. We got the chat coming in. We got Dragon Master who's scared about the election. Don't be afraid. I almost said don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Moonshadow, Carol, Kenny, Joe. What's going on? Joey, what's going on? My main man, Joey. We got, did I say Nutella already? Nutella? We got Mary Ellen. We got a bunch of people in here. Make sure you guys like this stream, please. Give it a like. Share it if you can. Send it to a friend. Send it to a family member. Send it to somebody who's anti-Trump. I'm sure we all know somebody that's anti-Trump. We don't know anybody that's pro-Biden. We just know people that are anti-Trump. But we'll get there. We'll get into it. Luciano in the building. Manuel. Jay. Wayne Grow 68. Edwin. Sound quality's good. I'm assuming everything's good. Okay, cool. We got a crowd. So again, make sure you like it. Try to share it if you can. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notifications. That way you'll be notified when I go live or release a new video. God bless everybody that supports, donates. Shout out to the moderators that eat the trolls, because we do get trolls in here from time to time. So as you guys know, there's never a shortage of things to talk about. You know how we know the world is becoming a better place? When I don't have a channel anymore because there's nothing to talk about, or I start talking about something else. Maybe I turn into a travel channel or something that's just more lighthearted and fun. But because we're in the thick of things right now, we have an election coming up. There's just so much evil, so much corruption, so many lies that I have to use my voice. I have to, because there's not enough people speaking the truth. There's not enough people calling out the lies, calling out the just pure evil that we're seeing. So we'll jump right into it. We'll start with the disgusting Netflix movie, Cuties. Now I know I should have probably canceled my Netflix a couple years ago when the Obama signed on, but for whatever reason, I didn't. I like a couple shows on there. Not every show on Netflix is bad and evil. Some shows are cool. Some shows have nothing to do with politics. I like Parks and Rec. I like random shows, funny stuff, some old school movies or whatever. But none of the stuff that I enjoy on Netflix is worth me keeping my subscription when they're outright promoting child degeneracy, when they're winking and nodding and pandering to pedophiles, wicked, evil people. And here's how you know how bad things have really gotten, because they've managed, the media, of course, has managed to make this a political issue. I saw a headline saying evangelical fundamentalists downplay the importance of such a breakthrough film or whatever. I forget whatever stupid euphemism buzzword they use, but they're pretty much saying this Cuties thing is like earth shattering. This this is bold and brave and stunning and beautiful. And all these evangelicals and far right wingers are downplaying it. And I'm just like, what? First of all, we shouldn't even be in this situation where something is promoted the way Netflix is. I know some people said Netflix has been doing this for years. Yeah, maybe they have. They have thousands of films, thousands of documentaries on their platform. But I've never seen a documentary or film promoted the way that this one was. They had billboards. They talked about it at the Sundance Film Festival. They said, oh, this is going to be a huge release. So why would they do that now? It's because they're trying to usher in a new normal. They want us to accept it. And then the media polarizes it. So where a lot of people might have agreed before, like, this is really bad. They put it out there like it's right wingers who are upset. Right wingers. These Christian extremists don't like this. And so that makes people, at least the simplest people on the left, say, well, I can't agree with them. So they'll just be quiet about it. Because if they use their social media, if they speak out about it, then it looks like they agree with far right extremists or Christian fundamentalists or whatever they're using to try to polarize us, to try to divide us on something we should be unified over. You saw the same thing with the George Floyd incident. Basically, 99% of people agreed, and we still do agree, that what happened to George Floyd was wrong. Doesn't matter if he died from an overdose. It doesn't matter how he died. The video itself looked horrible, and everybody agreed, but the media divided us on it. As soon as the riots happened, as soon as the looting happened, that's when most people were like, well, I'm down to clean up police departments. We should get rid of the bad apples, but I'm not down for looting, burning, destroying property. So they use that to divide us on something we should be unified on. They're doing the same thing with this Netflix thing. We've been divided politically on COVID. We shouldn't have been divided on that, but here we are. That's how they keep us from solving real problems. When you can turn any issue into something that's political, something that's left, right. Conservatives are against it. Liberals support it. Come on, man. Do you really have to make it a left, right issue? You got 11-year-old girls in skimpy clothes dry humping a stage. Sorry, that's a non-starter. For me, that's where I draw the line. And not only that, this is where it even gets even more evil. It's promoted to an adult audience. They try to make it about kids. Like, oh, this is just, we're telling you that exploiting children is bad. But they're telling you that exploiting children is bad by exploiting children. They couldn't just tell you. They have to actually make the girls dance and do all this weird, nasty, disgusting stuff. And then they say child nudity, and it's TVMA. So it's marketed to an adult audience. Come on, man. I just can't believe we're here. I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. I didn't think I would see it at all. I didn't know evil would just be right out in front of us. From Desmond is Amazing to this Cuties series to that's the thing. It's like people will say it's just fringe. It's just only a few people believe this. Yeah, but the few people who support it also have huge platforms and audiences to share and make it seem like this is normal. When Desmond is Amazing prances out on Good Morning America and the audience gives him a standing ovation, an audience of adults clap and cheer as a 7-year-old walks out dressed in drag, all skimpy. That's on TV, ABC News, Good Morning America. So yeah, a few people agree, but they're also using a platform to spread it to millions. Same thing with TED Talks, saying pedophilia is actually a sexual orientation. That's what people have been saying for years, that they were just going to add one more letter to LGBTQIA, P for pedophile. They want it to just be normal. Oh, it's not a big deal. That's what they're trying to do. That's how you make it normal. You just keep putting it in front of people's faces and just dumb them down, and then divide the issue along political lines or ideological lines. Oh, conservatives are against it. You don't want to be caught agreeing with them, so you might as well support it, or at least shut up about it because you don't want to be labeled a conservative. You don't want to side with them on an issue. You saw it with Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, for better or for worse, she at least stood up and did the right thing. She put light on this. She shined light on this, saying, look, this is pedophile. This is pedophilia. Netflix is complicit in human trafficking. They're helping to normalize probably the world's worst crime. And then she gets ostracized for it. Oh, you are far-right extremists. That's where we are. So Netflix, yeah, canceled it. Hopefully you guys did. Everybody should cancel it. Hopefully they take a huge hit because this is probably the worst thing they've done. They've probably got several other films, independent films, documentary shows promoting child sexuality and degeneracy, but we don't know about them. They promoted this. They wanted us to see it. They want people to accept it because they're covering for the world's worst people. They want to give the world's worst people a pass. They want us to just look at it like, oh, they're just humans. They just like what they like. It just so happens to be little humans. That's not normal. There's nothing normal about it. You'll never convince me it's normal. It's not normal. But they want us to think it's normal. So it's just disgusting, man. I'm disgusted. And I hate that so many conservatives shared the video. I was like, oh, man, like I saw it on Instagram. And because it was already there, I'm like, well, somebody else needs to see it that doesn't even know about it. But I personally wasn't going to take and add to it because there were so many videos out there already. It's just nasty, man. So hopefully Netflix takes a hit. Hopefully they remove it and turn the corner. But I doubt it. I doubt it because they knew what they were trying to do from the beginning. So they were probably prepared for some backlash. But the end game is they want to normalize this kind of content. They want you to see it and think it's just regular. It's just like when I was a kid, all the TV shows I used to watch when I was a kid, even like the ones that were marketed and geared towards adults, they barely said cuss words. There was barely any profanity in the show. Now you can hear every word, every word in the profanity spectrum gets said on TV. Profanity, nudity, all that stuff is on TV. But kids growing up now, if they're watching that, they see it as normal. Like, oh, it's on TV. It must not be that bad. Do you see what I mean? They just been tiptoeing towards degeneracy. That's why society right now is in a hellhole, because the people who control our industries, the people that control the optics, the stuff we see on TV, the stuff we hear on the radio, the stuff we hear in music, they're evil. They're sick, wicked people. That's why we have to keep calling it out. Call it what it is. It's sick. It's evil. And I just pray that I don't know anybody who supports this Cuties documentary or movie or whatever the hell it is. I don't know what they're calling it, but if I know anybody that supports it, that's not good. Joey said he's eating a breakfast burrito. Let's pivot from that point. You're funny, man. Next thing I want to talk about, the two officers that were almost assassinated in LA. I saw the video. I know a lot of people were talking about it. It's been covered ad nauseum at this point. It was a couple of days ago. I know I'm a little bit late on it, but I mean, this is a direct result of the rhetoric that comes out of not just Black Lives Matter activists and Sean King and people like that on Twitter. It's coming from the news. They're platforming this kind of hatred, and they're ostracizing the police. The police have been made the enemies. Again, how they've inverted reality, how they've shifted it. When I was growing up, yeah, we had problems with the police. I remember the Rodney King beatings, but you still had good shows that honored law enforcement, showed them in a positive light. And now the police have been made to be evil. And the Black Lives Matter people, the people who hate the police, the people that are oppressed by the police, are seen as heroes. So, of course, the person, the demon that walked up and shot those cops, felt like he was doing a good thing, like this is a good deed. And he probably thought in his sick, twisted mind that if I kill these people and then the cops come and kill me, I'll be propped up as a martyr. I'll be seen as a hero. I'll be celebrated. That's what demons do. They celebrate death. They celebrate destruction. What does the devil want to do? Steal, kill, and destroy. It's just like when the Trump supporter, the Patriot Prayer guy, was executed in Portland, and you had demons celebrating his death. You have demons blocking the hospitals. Who does that? If these aren't evil demons, then what is evil and who are demons? Because I don't know about you, but I've never done any of that. I don't know anybody that would do that, that would block a hospital so that people can't get treated. People that are on the verge of death, blocking a hospital, blocking an ER room, chanting death to them, hoping that they die. That's evil. That's what these people are doing. Under the guise of Black Lives Matter, defund the police, no justice, no peace. They don't want justice. They want revenge. For you to go and try to execute a police officer, a random police officer, not someone who did anything wrong. Even if they did do something wrong, they need to go through the proper channel. They need to go through the justice system. And I hear the BLM, they're always saying like, cops get off the hook all the time. Who are you to take justice in your own hands? And you think that that's the way to go about it? Like, because George Floyd was killed, because Breonna Taylor was killed, let's go kill random police officers. You think that makes sense? Who do you know? Who does that? Who thinks that makes sense? And why don't these people who support Black Lives Matter ever say anything about it? They never condemn it. You notice how all the violence, all the attempted mass murdering of police, locking them in buildings with quick drying cement and then trying to set it on fire. How come Sean King doesn't condemn it? It's because he encourages it. He's the one that motivates these people. That's why they're doing it. Have you ever seen the police under attack like this? Go back to 2016 when some Black Lives Matter activists shot and killed 4 cops in Dallas. You had cops executed in Baton Rouge. They're killing police officers. They've waged war on law enforcement because they don't want the streets to be safer. They want destruction. That's what they want. They won't outright tell you, but who cares what they say? Judge them on their actions. Look what they're doing. Look who supports it. Look who funds it. They call themselves the resistance. They're living in an inverted, upside down reality. It's the opposite of what's real. It's the opposite of what's right. It's the opposite of light. It's darkness. That's what it needs to be called. So I was just disgusted by it, to see the dude walk up and to see that wicked monster, that demon, celebrating it, making a video about it, saying, oh, they just aired him out. They just aired it out. It's like, what possessed you to say that? Why do you want to see people die? Does that bring justice? No, that doesn't bring justice. Does that make Black Lives Matter? Or does it build resentment to where somebody at some point is going to retaliate? And as long as we're fighting and bickering, we'll never figure out the people who are making us fight and bicker. We'll never turn and look at the people who are orchestrating all this. It's almost like we're just puppets on a string and we're in the middle of a show. It's like the Truman Show. They got us fighting while they're doing all this stuff in the shadows. So same thing with the Lancaster shooting. The Lancaster shooting, it's like police, clearly you can see on camera. It's on camera. They released the body cam footage because they knew, oh man, we just shot another minority. The city's going to burn tonight. The least we can do is try to do some damage control and show them, hey, look, we had a justifiable reason to kill him. He charged at us with a knife. Doesn't matter. The city still burned. They lit dumpsters on fire. They stomped on police cars. They broke into buildings. They justify their wicked behavior and they hide behind minorities. They're like, a Black person died. That means I can go loot that business. That means I can destroy property. because we're taking on the system. Doesn't matter that the dude had a knife and was charging towards him. They don't care about justice. They don't care about the truth. They care about destruction. It's a scorched earth philosophy. It's pretty much just, it's brainless activity, just mouth breathers. They're just there. Vessels for evil. Let's destroy everything. Let's burn everything. We don't care that the guy charged at him with a knife and he knifed people a few years ago. You got to wonder, why wasn't he in jail already? Again, who does that? Who would let somebody off the hook? What if that was your family member? What if you were the cop? Who are these left-wing activists, these Black Lives Matter activists? Who are them? Who are they to say they wouldn't retaliate the same way that cop did? Oh, they should have just tried to have a conversation with him. Like, hey, sir, please, please, please don't charge me and stab me. Please, let's have a conversation. Don't make me restrain you. No, it's kill or be killed at that point. Life or death. Self-defense. That's what's so funny. It's like, who is going to say that they wouldn't have done exactly what that cop did with someone, a deranged, unhinged lunatic charging at them with a knife? Doesn't matter. They still riot. They still burn, loot, and murder. Under the guise of Black Lives Matter, that's the worst part of it all, is we're protecting minorities. We care about minorities. So we're just going to kill people, and we don't care if the people we kill are minorities. How many black people have died at the hands of Black Lives Matter? How many black people died in the riots? They don't care about black lives. And I'm going to continue saying it. I'm going to shout it from a mountaintop. I'll say it until we root this evil out, till we call it out, because so many people are still stuck on that catchy little slogan because it sounds good. Black Lives Matter. Of course they do. Of course. Yeah, but when you look into the organization, when you see what they're trying to do, when you see that the people who shout it the loudest don't condemn the evil acts, then how can you still side with it? Because so many people still do. So many people still have posts of Black Lives Matter propaganda. People are watching sports and entertainment, and McDonald's is saying it. They're like, it must be good if McDonald's and LeBron James support it. But we don't need to say anything about the evil because, you know, it's actually the right wingers that are doing it. He was just murdering a right winger. So I don't have to condemn it because, you know, then I'd be siding with the far right extremists. See, just like the Netflix thing, just like George Floyd, just like COVID, divide and conquer. That is the strategy. And by the way, Joe Biden, who's supposed to be beating Trump, and he's going to build back better and bring us together and heal and fight for the soul of this nation, he hasn't said a word. Won't say a word about it. In fact, blames the police. Well, you shouldn't have been patrolling their neighborhood. Those aren't his words, obviously. But if they could say what they actually thought, they'd just be like, well, you shouldn't have been back in the blue. Trump supporter in Portland, you brought your own death on yourself. That's what you get for having the wrong opinion in the wrong city. That's what you get. Sorry. If they could just be honest and say that, at least I'd have more respect for them. I'd have more respect for the honesty. I'll never respect the evil because they're deceivers, they're liars. But at least if they could be honest about that, like, yeah, we just want to exterminate you guys. That's what we want to do. That's what they want to do. They're not saying it, but look at their actions. Look at the actions. Look at the dog whistles. They always talk about Trump dog whistles. Trump is dog whistling to his white supremacist base. How come only the left can hear it? How come they hear Trump's supposed dog whistles more than his supposed white supremacist base? It's because they're making it up. They're making it up. All the while, they're dog whistling. When Kamala Harris says, we're just going to keep it up. We're going to continue. Even after the election, it's still going to happen. Everything they've said, we're going to continue resisting. We're going to resist. We're going to resist. It's the language they use. It's the words they use. Resist, resist. That sounds like an action. When you're resisting something, that's an action. We're going to resist hate. We're going to fight hate. I've seen signs. We're fighting hate. What does that look like? That sounds like you're going to go assault somebody. So they promote all this because it's an inverted, upside down world. It's backwards. It's wicked. And the media knows how to make the villains look like the heroes and the heroes look like the villains. I don't want to butcher the quote, but that's a Malcolm X quote. It's almost like he was a prophet. He saw this coming. Yuri Bezmenov, prophet, saw this stuff coming. It's playing out in front of our eyes every single day. Lancaster shooting. Cops were clearly in the right. He was charging at him with a knife. It's on camera. Should be an open and shut case. But no, doesn't matter. They still rioted and destroyed. Then you see a cop get shot, 2 cops in a car, get shot by some rando on the street. Nobody says anything about it. In fact, he's probably seen as a hero. I mean, they obviously celebrated it. They hoped the cops died. They blocked the ER. The guy in Portland, they celebrated him. They said it's good that he killed the Trump supporter, took someone else's life. It's inverted. It's an inverted world. So, yeah. So there's that. Now, let's move to something that's a little bit lighter, but not really lighter, just kind of hilarious and ironic. Andrew Gillum, for all my Floridians watching, okay, you guys know how close we were to having this guy run our state into the ground, because that's what he would have done. Andrew Gillum has slithered out of the shadows to do some major damage control and try to salvage his political career. They just act like we forget. Like we just forgot that 5 minutes ago, the dude was caught in a hotel having a crystal meth orgy with a male escort while he's married. And then he just comes out of the shadows after being in rehab, like, oh, yeah, I was just depressed over losing the election. And I had a drinking problem. I was just drinking at a wedding. That's it. I just drank at a wedding. Those photos that emerged, the police report that said there was all kind of prescription pills that looked like a pharmacy in the hotel room, or the male escort. None of that actually happened. And oh, by the way, I'm bisexual, so I'm just going to, announce that. And now I'll be seen as brave, stunning and brave. And the people who support that, they just eat it up. They just memory hole everything else that came out that's factually true. And much more important, nobody cares about his sexuality. It's the fact that he was on CNN, character bashing the president, talking bad about Ron DeSantis, talking bad about Trump supporters, over there grandstanding and virtue signaling all over CNN all day, every day, tweeting at the president all the time. Meanwhile, this dude's leading a double life. You can't make this stuff up. Now he comes out and he's like, yeah, I'm actually doing this. It's like, but what about your wife and kids? What about everything else in the hotel? It's just hilarious how they do this. They just think that we either have memories of a goldfish, or they're like, yeah, we're just gonna gloss over that. We're gonna speed past the biggest part of this entire situation. And we want you to know that Andrew Gillum, he's a better man now that he went to rehab. Now watch him try to run for another position. Watch him do it. Because when you're on the left, you have a path to redemption. I'll never forget. It's a hilarious thing. I have a bunch of friends on the left. They're always talking about, basically, they hate conservatives. They won't say it, but they hate conservatives. They don't like conservatives. They don't like Trump supporters. Their side is good. They think they're better. Whatever. They were talking about Gillum like, I hope Gillum wins Florida. Gillum needs to win Florida. And then when all this came out about Gillum, radio silence. I'm the only one that brought up, yeah, he had this crystal meth orgy. You just going to ignore that? Okay. Interesting. But they wanted him to win, and then they went silent when all that came out. See, they cannot keep the same energy, but let any low-level Republican you can name, some random Republican congressman that nobody's ever heard of, let's say he's in Kansas or Nebraska, some random guy nobody heard of, if he had some crystal meth orgy while he's married, they would blow that story up. It'd be talked about, national news coverage. It'd be a big thing. And of course, they'd say he was a supporter of President Trump. So obviously, Trump supports this. You see how it works? They can't keep the same energy. They can't do it. Thank you for the super chat, Vernon. Is that the name? Vermin Ator. It was supposed to be a little more. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Tell me what you mean on that one, because I would like to. If you're asking a question or something, I would like to respond to that. Or unless you're saying it was supposed to be more super chat donation. Either way, thank you very much for the super chat. But Andrew Gillum, come on, man. Come on. They're going to use this and pretend like none of the other stuff happened. And he's going to slither his way back onto the media. Watch. I wouldn't doubt if he's back on CNN by election time. And nobody, of course, is going to ask him any questions about it. They'll just be like, tell us about your brave journey going through rehab and coming out as a bisexual male. That's what they'll talk about. These people are just disgusting liars, man. What else do I have on my list here? And then I got to wrap up. Keeping it short today. The wildfires in California, guys. The wildfires. What do you guys think? Climate change? The science is settled on climate change. That's it, guys. We have to pass the Green New Deal now. It's settled. That's it. Gavin Newsom told us climate change is real. The proof is right there. The state's on fire. And anybody that has a question about it is a science denier, a right-winger, a far-right extremist. While the forest is burning, while there's arsonists being arrested, doesn't matter. It's climate change. Ignore that part. Ignore the part where the people set the fires. Just look at the smoke plumes and just know that it's a drought. And that's why we have climate change issues. And we should obviously vote to have freedoms taken away. Green New Deal. But ignore the fact that people set fires. That don't let those facts get in the way. That doesn't matter. It's just like Australia. Australia had some of the worst wildfires in the history of that continent. Some of the worst wildfires ever. Never mind the fact that those fires were set by arsonists. They used it to push the Greta Thunberg message. See, they use these people as human shields. Minorities, women, children, tragedies, to push their bad ideas, to weigh on your heartstrings, tug at your heartstrings. They talk about all the koalas that died. It's like, can we look at the terrible people who set the fires that killed all of the koalas? No, we can't do that. Ash drifting in the air, someone said. Anomaly has the facts on California fires. Yeah, he did a deep dive on it. Shout out to Anomaly. If you guys are not aware of his channel, I know some people don't know about him. Find Anomaly on YouTube. Find him on Facebook. That's my homie. Josh, let me put that on the screen. Once upon a time, I was a lifelong Democrat. One day, a Mike Nificent video was recommended in my feed. And you, sir, became personally responsible for my red pill. Thank you for speaking the truth and waking people up. God bless you. Thank you very much for the super chat, Josh. I'm glad I could be a part of that. It's one of those things where, and I say this a lot, and I'm going to continue saying, I'm going to say it when I'm on air on Friday by myself, by the way, Right Side Broadcasting. God doesn't make mistakes. I am where I am because this was my destiny. I had no idea I was going to start a YouTube channel. I had no idea I would be a Trump supporter. And I certainly had no idea that I would reach millions of people per week at Trump rallies. So because I have a huge platform, what could I do other than tell the truth? What would God have me do? I pray about it. It says, tell the truth. Call out evil. Call evil by its name. Expose it. Never mind all these stupid terms. Racism, misogyny, sexism, homophobia. What are all those terms? What are they? They're hate-filled terms. It's hate. What is hate? It represents the darkness and the evil in the human heart. That's all it is. That's really all it is. It's that simple. Either you're doing something that's good and helps and heals and lifts people up and is light and truth and love and freedom, or you're doing dark, sick, wicked, evil, satanic things. You're celebrating death. Do you celebrate people's death? No, of course you don't. Nobody does, except for some of the wicked people. And I guess you could say they're on the left, but I'm sure there's some right wingers that do it too. I'm happy to call them out if you can show them to me. But it's just good and it's just evil. and we have to call it out. And that's really all I'm doing. That's really all it is, guys. I just see through the BS. I see through the nonsense. I see through the propaganda. I see that everybody's using just being intellectually lazy, blaming everything on Trump. Oh, it's Trump's fault. Trump botched the whole COVID-19 response. If Trump would have just taken it seriously, what are you talking about? It's like, I'm happy to call Trump out if he says or does something wrong, but even if I don't, is there a shortage of people that do call him out? There's really not. There's people that will blame him for things that aren't his fault. Gavin Newsom is a prime example. Every time there's some tragedy, they use it to score political points and blame Trump. They always have to dig at Trump. Gavin Newsom, your state's on freaking fire. And in your press conference, you say, I'm going to take the lead on this since we don't have leadership at the federal level. Just your state's on fire. How is that Trump's fault? How is it Trump's fault? Fires pre-existed the president. They pre-existed his birth, if we're being honest here, which they don't like to be honest. So you lie about climate change, even though people are getting arrested for arson. There's people throwing Molotov cocktails out of windows to set it on fire so that they can promote the climate change narrative. They don't care how many houses are burned down, how many animals are killed. They don't care what it does to the air. It actually has the exact opposite effect on climate. They want to change the climate. Oh, let's ban plastic straws, but let's put hypodermic needles on the street. Okay. All these disposable masks, needles and feces and garbage, homeless encampments, medieval diseases in California, the most liberal state, the biggest state, 40 million people. And you got all this nonsense, all this trash, pollution. You can't breathe the air. You couldn't breathe the air long before COVID in LA. People should have been wearing masks years ago. Just saying, that's all I'm doing, man, is just telling the truth. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Anyway, I think I covered everything that was in my title. Netflix, the cop assassination attempt. One thing I do want to talk about, though, with these BLM riots, okay? One thing that I haven't heard anybody talk about is how this really should make small business owners think, okay? If you're a small business owner and you see that a police shooting has gone down in your city, you should immediately check your insurance policy, make sure that's good to go, board up your windows, take all of your belongings out of there, because it's inevitable that your store is going to be looted and burned and nobody's going to help you. The police won't be able to, because in many cases, there's a mayor that's going to support BLM, going to bend the knee to the mob and let them just commit anarchy and chaos and destroy your business. And they'll say, oh, well, sorry about it. You should also start looking at moving your business, because here's the thing. For example, Minneapolis is a great example. So many businesses were destroyed over the George Floyd protests that turned into a riot. Now, what's going to happen if you rebuild your business and you've seen all the facts come out of the case of George Floyd? You see that the officers involved have been overcharged. They're probably going to beat the case. So what's going to happen to your rebuilt business whenever that case concludes and those officers are ultimately acquitted? What's going to happen in Minneapolis then? If I were a business owner, I'd be gone. I would be gone. I would plan ahead. I would be looking to the future of my business. Like, yeah, the city's going to give me a grant or a loan to rebuild my business, that they let these mobs destroy. That's another story. You're going to loan somebody some money to rebuild what you destroyed. I would be getting my business out of there, because you know that there's going to be another wave of riots coming. We all know it's coming. When those cops are acquitted, we know what's going to happen in Minneapolis. So let's just call it what it is. It's a matter of time before it happens again. And just in general, it doesn't even have to happen in Minneapolis. It can happen in some other random city. because we know what their objectives are. We know that they don't care about the truth. They don't care about body cam footage. They don't care about the facts coming out. They don't care if the person was a rapist. They don't care if they were a pedo. They don't care if they stabbed people before. All they see are the optics. White cop killed minority person equals racism. Time to burn stuff. Time to destroy business. That's what they do. So if I were a business owner, I start thinking about online inventory, because these degenerates have not yet figured out how to destroy your business online. They can only get bricks that were put on the street corner. Again, another story, to destroy businesses physically. I think I covered everything though. Wildfires, all that stuff. So now I'll just read a few comments and then I'll get out of here. I got an event that I'm going to today. Got my new shirt in the mail. I'll be debuting it today. Kids Lives Matter, says Joey. That's right. Kids Lives Matter. Save the children. That's so crazy that they could successfully draw a line between us, divide us along whether kids' lives matter, whether all lives matter or not. All lives matter is actually a message of unity. And I would say the same thing to people who say cops' lives matter, blue lives matter. Blue lives matter is a response to Black Lives Matter. All lives matter encompasses all of it. So blue lives matter is kind of doing the same thing as Black Lives Matter, not in terms of destroying businesses and all that. It's obviously organic. It's not astroturf. But if you're saying all lives matter, doesn't that include blue lives? Of course it does. So I would tell them the same thing. Babies' lives matter. Kids' lives matter. But you're not allowed to say that. The only thing you're allowed to say is Black Lives Matter. Imagine if these athletes would put missing children on their helmets. That's what's crazy. They'll put the rapist on their helmet, but not a missing child, because they don't care. They're doing whatever's trendy, whatever's in vogue right now. That's what they're doing. Whatever gets the social media clout, whatever they're paid to do. Even if they disagree, it's like, well, you want to collect this NFL paycheck? Okay, put Jacob Blake on your helmet. Do it. Never mind the fact that he's got this rap sheet. This is what you have to do to secure the bag. Guys, we are in some just evil times right now. Evil times. Someone said, where were the cuties' fathers? In the home? I don't know what the story is on those little girls. I really don't. But just think about this, man. Like, they targeted this movie to a mature audience. It's rated TV MA. They zoom in on these girls as they're twerking and doing disgusting dances. I'm sure they had a casting call. They had to get a bunch of girls to figure out which ones would be the best for this film. Adults, of course, doing the casting call. Right? It's like Andrew Gillum comes out of the closet so that it distracts from what he actually did. Cheated on his wife with a male escort. OD'd in his own vomit in a hotel room. Just like Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey comes out as bisexual to distract and pivot from him being accused of abusing minors. These people are just disgusting. Are we supposed to just forget about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and Bill Clinton and all that stuff? We're just supposed to forget about it? And we're supposed to think that pedophilia is a sexual orientation because someone said it on a TED Talk? Because Trevor Noah said kids should be picking their own genders? These people with platforms, man. Wicked, wicked, evil people. Liars, deceivers, inverting reality, inverting truth, undermining truth, and dividing us by saying it's just these Christian fundamentalists that are against this cuties movie, but it's actually really earth shattering. It's actually social commentary. That's what I meant to say in my other video. Social commentary. It's social commentary. We're telling you what not to do with 11-year-old girls. Oh, great, Netflix. Maybe next you can release a film about kicking puppies where people are actually kicking puppies. And we're saying, oh, no, no, no. We're actually just showing you that you shouldn't kick puppies. So we just made this video. It's social commentary. Is that not the same thing? Sounds hyperbolic, but it's the same thing. We're going to depict it. We're going to actually play it out in real time because we're trying to tell you this is what you shouldn't do. Like, yeah, we're going to eat all the donuts and get really fat and unhealthy to show you that eating donuts makes you fat and unhealthy. We can't just tell you that it does. We have to show you. We need a whole film production. It's the exact same thing, guys. That's what they're telling you with this Cuties documentary. So I just had to do it. I mean, it actually was an easy thing to do because most of what's on Netflix now is just dark and evil. You see what's promoted when you first log in and they show you like all the new shows and it automatically starts playing the trailer. It makes you wonder, are people actually watching this? Is this really popular? Or are they artificially inflating it to make it seem like it's popular? So like, well, let's see what all the hype is about since it's number one. It's trending number one on Netflix. It's all dark shows. You go to their Twitter page, they're promoting a show called Lucifer. They put it in your face. They don't hide it. They don't care if you know. What are the odds that Netflix, who just promoted a movie with 11-year-old girls, also promotes a show called Lucifer? I guess it's just a right-wing conspiracy, right? Get tired of these people, man, lying about it. Amen, Mike. Jesus healed to show. Wait a minute. That left. Hold on. Jesus healed to show society what to do. Cancel Netflix account now. I hope you guys do. Cancel that. Hit them where it hurts. Their pocketbooks. They don't deserve whatever that price is per month. $12.99, $6.99. I forget what it is. They keep raising the price. They raise the price as the quality of the content goes down. Kind of like college. College has gotten more expensive as the content and the education, the curriculum becomes more watered down. I bet you there's a whole Black Lives Matter discipline now. That's an academic discipline, guaranteed. If it's not, it will be soon. You can learn about white oppression and how minorities aren't smart enough to overcome oppression. It's like that chick on the airplane. I don't know who posted this video. Some chick on an airplane, they're trying to tell her to move or do something, and she starts yelling. She's like, who are you to tell me you are white privilege? You are white privilege. And then she goes on to say, we was kings. I'm a queen. How can you be a queen but also oppressed? We was kings and queens, but we're oppressed. We got overthrown. We got overtaken. No, kings and queens do what they want. So which one is it? Are you a king and a queen, or are you oppressed? How can you be both? I'm just saying, too much common sense. We're strong and powerful and black, but also we're oppressed. The system is crushing us, but we're strong and powerful. Makes zero sense. Hold on. BLM are already working with California schools hand in hand. Yeah, the California school district is discussing. I think an Anomaly actually said this in one of his live streams I was watching. He said it is a blessing in disguise that schools are shut down right now because your kids are not being directly inundated with propaganda. Right? These teachers can't force this curriculum on kids in a classroom setting where there's no parental oversight. This is the best time to homeschool your kids, to figure out another way to educate them. A better way. Like, shouldn't parents have control over what their kids learn? Makes sense to me. Do away with public education. Public education led us to this point. This is what they wanted. You know, I hear Ben Shapiro say the public education system has failed us. No, it hasn't. It did exactly what it was designed to do: create a mind to hate America. That's all they've been doing, is shaping and molding minds. And the media distorts the perception of reality. And the entertainment industry shapes culture, which is upstream from politics. And that's how you change a country. You change it from within. It's like a controlled demolition of the United States of America. It starts with education. It starts with removing the father from the home, talking about BLM. Dismantle the Western prescribed nuclear family structure. You don't have a 2-parent household? No problem. Put the kids in school all day. We'll educate them. Public education. We don't know who controls the curriculum. We don't know who sits on the school boards that decides what textbooks are going to be in the classroom. We don't know who writes the textbooks, what's in the textbooks, but it's a good idea. Let's just go ahead and do it. Next thing you know, you're factory farming a communist from the time that they're in elementary school until they come out of college with a bunch of debt and blue hair. That sounds kind of like pejorative, but it's also kind of true too, because I'm just saying. I'm just saying, a lot of people that I've seen that have like blue hair, pink hair, whatever, they went to University of Oregon, they went to Stanford. They're smart, they're educated, but for the most part, they're just basically brainwashed. It's true. You're not learning how to think, you're learning what to think. How else could you come out of college having a college degree and thinking that the government is actually a solid replacement for the private sector, that the government can balance a budget and shape society and give us good quality education and healthcare, free quality education and healthcare, even though it's taxpayer funded? People aren't thinking for themselves. It's just simple. And I went to college too. I don't know how it didn't work on me. The brainwashing didn't work on me. Anyway, we're just about an hour. I appreciate everybody that's watching today. Make sure that you like this live stream. Make sure that you share it with everybody you know. Share it on other platforms. I'll be traveling this week. I'm leaving tomorrow, actually. Catch me on RSBN Friday for Trump's rally in Bemidji, Minnesota. That will be my first event hosting solo. So I think I got this, guys. What do you think? What do you think? I got it. I got it. For this being what? This will be my 4th rally, I think. I think I'm going to be okay. But I still would prefer to have a co-host. It's just easier. It's funner it's more fun to have somebody that you're having a conversation with. So I don't know, but we're kind of spread thin right now. Resources are spread a little bit thin, but I know I'll be at the Bemidji, Minnesota event. And then there's another one in Wisconsin somewhere. I won't be at that one. And whichever one they announce after that, I'll probably be at that one. It's just a matter of time before Trump comes to Florida. He has to. He has to. All these states he has to win. If it were me, if I were Trump, if I were handling this campaign, I would say go back and forth between Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida. Hit those states, you win. And I think that the states that, he's going to probably win anyway, like Arkansas or something like that, they should understand that he's not neglecting them by not having any campaign stops there. But it's so critical that he wins these blue states that he won in 2016. He has to retain those states. So he should spend a whole bunch of time in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. And he should be all over Minnesota. Hopefully he wins Minnesota. I think he's got Florida in the bag. I really do. I really do. In fact, if I can make it to Miami at any point between now and election, I just want to bring you guys coverage of the Cubans down there, because Cubans for Trump is huge. I've seen pictures. I've seen videos. I've talked to people that went to some of the events. They had a yacht for Trump, and it was full of Cubans this past weekend. So Cubans for Trump in Florida, Venezuelans for Trump. It's huge. Joe Biden does not stand a chance in Florida, in my opinion. And I know there's Biden voters out there. There's Biden voters on my block. When I drive down the street, there's like 2 or 3 Biden Harris yard signs and flags, but like 40 to 50 signs. I'm not really exaggerating either. Drive down my street, it's all Trump. So other than that, I just don't see Biden winning. I just don't. I mean, we all know they lied him in the first place. How hard is it to say Joe Biden's leading and then people just believe it? If you continue, if you just repeatedly say that Joe Biden's leading, he's in the lead, he's up by these many points, you put it on the screen as a graphic and people just consume it as truth. Even though there's no evidence to it, you can't see it. You're just believing what you've been told on a screen. They show you on the screen, look, Joe Biden has this much percentage of voters or whatever. Then when you go to Michigan and you're like, but there's like thousands upon thousands of Trump signs here. There's a lot of Trump hats I saw in the airport. You sure Biden's leading in Michigan? Like, maybe his supporters aren't enthusiastic, but could they at least put out a yard sign? Could they show up at his lone event? The man's barely traveling. When have you ever seen a presidential candidate go speak somewhere and nobody hears them? Nobody shows up. And no. It's not because of the virus. I've seen people say, people aren't showing up to Biden events because they don't want to get sick and die. I'm like, oh, you mean the same people that show up to do Black Lives Matter events? Those people? Oh, they can't show up because it spreads the virus if you go to a Biden event. But if you go to protest a police brutality shooting, even though it was justified, if you show up to that in large numbers, it doesn't spread the virus. But when nobody shows up for Biden, it's because they don't want to spread the virus. That's what they're telling you. That's what they want you to believe. They're inverting reality. They're lying to your face. They're doing mental gymnastics because they know that their candidate is garbage. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Please make sure that, again, you like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell if you haven't already. Shout out to all my moderators. Shout out to everybody that super chats and sends donations via PayPal or to my P.O. box. Links are always in the description. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. I'm almost at 7,000 followers. Let's get me to 7,000. I'm almost at, well, I'm not almost at, but I'm past 3,000 on Instagram. I have to make up for lost ground from Facebook. So I'm posting on these other platforms. But anyway, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. I do have to wrap up because I'm going to an event today. So be on the lookout for some content from that. God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Be on the lookout for me in Bemidji, Minnesota this Friday at RSBN for a Trump rally. And I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Later.